Welcome to Royal Legacy, where we will explore the rich athletic history and deep family connections of BYU sports. Join us as we honor the past, celebrate the present, and look forward to the future of the BYU Cougars. Here's your host, Lauren McClain.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Lauren McClain, and welcome to Royal Legacy, where we dive deep into the family connections of BYU sports. This week, we revisit a past episode of Royal Legacy, where I talk with the Fowler family, BYU football legend Blaine Fowler, and his sons Kellen, Landon, and Gavin. Thanks for listening, and Royal Legacy will be back soon with a new episode. Joining me today is BYU football Fowler clan, Blaine the dad, and sons Kellen, Landon, and Gavin. I appreciate you guys coming on. This is going to be fun. You guys ready?
Yes.
You guys looked a little hesitant, but I'm excited to see what comes up.
Everybody just doesn't want to talk at once.
Yeah, so. Here we go. Let's give it a little background on the Fowlers. Blaine, you played at BYU from 81 to 85, part of that 84 national championship team, and you married Brenda Birmingham in 83. Mm-hmm. She was on the BYU drill team at the time. You had 2 daughters and 3 sons together, all 3 boys playing football for BYU. Blaine, we know you from BYUtv, covering football and basketball and losing in a free throw contest to me. We won't tell the rest. Kellen.
That was the first time. The second time I did not lose.
True. Kellen, you played for BYU from 2002 to 2003, and then again from 2006 to 2008. Landon played from 2009 to 2010. Gavin played for BYU from 2011 to 2018 and is currently an assistant safeties coach for the BYU football team. Did I get all that right?
Yeah, it sounds right.
Guys,
nailed it.
Wow. That's a big deal. Those are some cool accolades right there. Let's start off with a question for the boys. What was your favorite story your dad told you from his playing days at BYU? Kellen, let's start with you.
That's a tough one.
Because Blaine has lots of stories.
He is a storyteller by nature, and I feel like we grew up all like in the stories. It's probably something that isn't actually about BYU football. It would be something else, like from crazy shenanigans around the team. He told a story. I think I don't want to get this wrong, but I think it was him telling a story about Jim McMahon. They were on the road in a high-rise hotel, may have been in Honolulu, and they got a knock on their sliding glass window. And they're like, somebody's on our balcony. We're like way off the ground. And was it Jim, Dad?
It was Jim McMahon.
And Jim had been climbing balcony to balcony and then looking in the windows so he could see somebody that he knew to try and get back in the building, and knocked on their window. It was that kind of stuff that we grew up hearing about.
Wow.
Just the
uncensored
fun.
BYU football.
the stuff that happens outside, off the field, that makes it actually pretty special, and that you build relationships with the people through that kind of stuff. So that was one of those stories that I was always like, oh, man, that would be so fun to have buddies like that and be on the road together and whatnot.
Jim probably loved that you were telling that story, too.
One word to describe Jim: fearless. Right?
Yeah.
Fearless on the field, fearless off the field. You climb down balconies above the
gosh.
international marketplace back in those days.
And did you have a game the next
Princess
day?
Keelani Mary. Well, within the next day or two, yeah. We'd go over a couple of days ahead to acclimate when we played in Hawaii.
Wow. I love that story. All right, Landon, it's your turn. What's something you remember your dad telling you when you were growing up?
That was the exact story that came to my mind. But the other one that comes to mind was maybe there was a big fight at a JV game down at Snow. And am I remembering this right?
Well, we got in a fight at Philadelphia
against Temple, right?
Against Temple. Yeah, is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, but I don't remember the details. I just remember being pumped about the fight and that we dominated.
Yeah.
You're like, did we win, Dad?
Yeah.
Well, didn't he say that, like, he was going to go get in the fight and somebody grabbed him? No. It may have been Robbie.
Yes.
And
Robbie.
We're quarterbacks. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Robbie Bosco pulled you back.
Let's just say that Glenn Kozlowski started the fight.
Not surprising.
The fans from Philadelphia climbed out of the stands and got involved in the fight.
Wow.
I got up off of the bench to start down to get involved in the fight, and Robbie grabbed me by my sleeve and pulled me back down and said, dude, we're quarterbacks. We don't get involved in this kind of stuff. And we just sat there and watched our teammates. We're the only 2 guys not down in the fight.
That would have hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Your pride.
But it did. I felt like we should have been part of it.
That's crazy. All right, Gavin, sorry is the baby bro. What's your memory?
No, I kind of similar answer to Kellen. I think my first stories that I think of are less about football and more about just time at BYU. More like dorms, shenanigans and stuff going on with Robbie and Chris and those guys. Even just the other day, I was walking by the dorms with Gennaro Guilford and Justin Enna, and we were all talking about stupid, funny stories that we did in the dorms. And so, any of us who lived in the dorms with our teammates and stuff, we all have funny stories and stuff we're doing. So those are the ones that always come up in my mind for some reason. So
Robbie and I were roommates as freshmen in the dorms.
Okay.
Robbie Bosco and I. So.
I think it just shows that the BYU experience, even for people who are athletes, it's hopefully everybody who comes to BYU has something special like that happen. It's a special place because it's a gathering of a lot of special people, and you just do fun, random stuff that it becomes part of the fabric of who you are after you're gone.
Yeah, make lifelong friends and connections. It really is an incredible place. Blaine, for the average fan, though, you're known for going in for Robbie Bosco after he got injured during the Holiday Bowl against Michigan. Mike Holmgren said to you, you're great, you're in great shape, you've got this, you know the offense better than anybody on this team. And then Norm Chow then called back-to-back-to-back passing plays.
Yeah,
is that right?
I think we threw the first 5 plays.
Wow.
That's how we rolled back in those days.
Yeah.
Because if we had 80 plays in a game, we were going to throw out 55.
I love it.
Those were
That's
fun
entertainment
days.
right there.
Well,
That's entertaining
and
football.
that's why I came to BYU watching him. The years when I was in high school, especially my senior year. Jim was a junior. He broke a bunch of NCAA records that year, and we would watch the games when we'd see him on television, and they were just throwing it everywhere. And I was thinking about either going to Penn State or Pittsburgh or Syracuse, the schools closest to home, or Miami down in Florida. And then I would watch BYU and go, if you play quarterback, why would you go any place other than this? So it should be no surprise that when I went in the game, like Norm's not going to change what he's going to do. We're just going to keep slinging it. So I think we threw the first 5 plays.
Well, here's something I love about you. I feel like you exude confidence, and I feel like that just thinking of you even in your playing days, just going out there and you're like, okay, yeah, I got this, I could do this. So I want to know where did that confidence come from that it seems like you've always had?
I think you get that when you grow up. So my dad and mom were big about building up their children, whether it was me or my sisters, where it was give you positive experiences, remind you that you can do hard things and that you're good at what you do, and that you should be confident and you can go full forward and you don't be afraid to fail. And when you do fail, they pick you up and say, that's cool. Everybody fails. That's how we learn. We push forward. So it came from the environment that my mom and dad created. So, and Grandpa Fowler, these guys will tell you, he spent his whole life as a counseling psychologist. So he understood, what it meant to build children and families that were confident and could compete and do all of those things, but not just so that they could compete in athletics, even though my dad was a very fine athlete, but so they could compete in life, because life is a big competition at times, and there's a lot of setbacks, and you got to be able to pick yourself up and just go forward and have confidence that you can do it. So it's something that Brenda and I picked up on and noticed. And Brenda even noticed it as she came into the family that, hey, Grandma Fowler are really good with this. They're confidence builders. They're lifters. And so we said that's something we want to do with our kids. That old saying, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And so we raised these 3 boys right here to think, yeah, we can go play Division I football. That's not beyond our reach. We absolutely should be able to do that. Why shouldn't we be able to do that? Dad did that. Grandpa Fowler did that. We should all be able to do that. Yeah. And with that confidence, you push forward and you play faster when you're confident. You are more successful when you're confident. And so I think it just started from when I was young, probably because I was raised by a smart dad that also happened to be a psychologist.
Yeah. And from you guys' perspective, and we'll start with Kellen, is that something you feel like your dad and mom really did push upon you guys as you were growing up?
No question. I think that and just like having a standard of excellence that was expected in the house, not always about athletics, but also academics, about how clean you kept your room. Like there was just high expectations supported by the fact that they told you and knew and in every interaction just believed that you could do it. That's why the expectations were high. And so I think that it both set your ambitions high, but also gave you the confidence to reach and actually go accomplish those things.
That's really cool. And Landon, from your perspective, what type of role model was your dad to you while you were growing up in that aspect?
Yeah, I think optimism is such an incredibly important characteristic. And, I recently read this too as it relates to business, that the best people in sales, the number one quality that is the best predictor of success is optimism. And we definitely were taught that by our dad, right? Like we come out of a basketball game and say we didn't have the best game, we didn't score 20 points, we missed some shots. That's not what my dad would focus on and talking us through the game after. He would focus on, you hustled really good on defense, you got rebounds, you're a good teammate. I love the layup that you went and got in the second quarter, and just kind of built you up because, again, like you believe in yourself, and it's the ultimate predictor of success. And, I still carry it with me today, right? Like I work at a startup. It's a lot of ups and downs. It's not always just perfect linear up and to the right. Like we have setbacks. It's hard. And keeping that optimistic mindset is huge.
And it's interesting the power that parents have, right? Like even now, almost a 40-year-old, I'm all, so Mom and Dad, what do you think about this decision that I'm about to make? And so to have a figure like that is such a positive influence is incredible. Gavin, what about for you? How has that influence impacted your life?
I mean, a lot, like what Kellen and Landon said, just the the constant confidence it's given me, but and really forever with accomplishing all the goals we had as kids to play college football. But then even now, I'm working into getting into the coaching industry, and it's a hard road. It's very competitive. There's a lot of people trying to get into it, but there's a lot of other people that get into it early and then wash out because they give up or they don't necessarily believe they're going to make it because they're not willing to kind of persevere through those first stages of the grinding years. But the confidence that my mom and dad have given me and my siblings, my brothers and stuff is just that if I just stay at it and keep working hard, that things will work out. And I believe that just because that's how I've been raised to think is that I can accomplish anything I want to. And so, the lessons I learned from them, I have to carry every day still with what I'm doing right now.
And the nice thing is it's a self-reinforcing frame of mind. Because when you believe you can accomplish things, you try. And when you try, the more times you get out there and give it a go, the more often you're actually going to accomplish something.
Right.
Then you say, I've done this before. You look at all three of us, we were all walk-ons. Like it takes a lot for you to walk out there and say, okay, I got to go prove that I belong. And but I think despite that, we all kept getting up. And sometimes the walk on, you get knocked down really hard and you have to jump up and be like, wow, do I actually belong here? But I think I can hack it. I think I can be here. I think I can make it. And so, there's a podcast that Chad Lewis, who's the athletic administration, did here where he actually talks about, with Nate Mickle, who's a former teammate of mine, the power of being a walk on and having to prove yourself and like getting up when you're down. And I think there's a lot of lessons that come from that luckily we've been able to kind of live that experience, and that builds that confidence for the future.
I think that's incredible advice. And what's crazy is I was talking to my friend today, and I was telling her about your family in this interview I was doing and kind of all your successes and even your daughters. And she's like, can you please just ask them, because she has kids, she's like, please ask the mom and dad how to raise little humans to become like that. So I love everything you're saying because it's really powerful. Let's go back to growing up in Kaysville, Utah. Kellen, I know you were born in California, though. Mm-hmm. But then you were kind of raised in Utah, right?
He only lived in California for one day.
Really?
He was born at the Holiday Bowl when we played Missouri. He came a month and a half early.
How did I not know that? I didn't know that.
So we were down. We were down with the team. Brenda was 7 months and a few pregnant. And Dr. Udall, who was the team. So there's a team orthopedic surgeon. There's also a team like generalist.
Yeah.
So family doc that takes care of coughs and colds and all that. Dr. Udall was that generalist. And he said, I know she can't fly commercial, but she can come on the charter with me because I'm not coming down until the middle of the week. You go down and she can come with me. She's a ways away. She went and got checked, and they said she was fine. She got to the hotel, and the day before the game, the day before we played Missouri, she said, I kind of have a stomach ache. This was our first baby. I kind of have a stomach ache. Well, Mark Bellini and I were planning on taking her to the mall. And she said, I don't think I should go to the mall with you guys. Maybe I should just lay down and rest. We said, yeah, you should lay down and rest. So Mark and I went out to the mall. And about 45 minutes later, we got an overhead page because this is before cell phones.
Yeah.
And it said, Blaine Fowler, please come to the mall security office. And Mark said, did they just say Blaine Fowler come to the... I said, that's impossible. Nobody knows us here. Again, Blaine Fowler, please come to the mall security office. I said, they clearly said Blaine Fowler come. So we walked down. The guy said, there's a Dr. Udall on the phone for you. And he said, hey, Blaine, I'm here in your room. Brenda's in labor. And so I think you better get home or back to the hotel, to the Hilton, Mission Bay Hilton where we used to stay. We pulled in. We got there. Brenda sat up. And maybe this is too graphic for the show, but when she sat up, her water broke.
Oh, man.
And the first thing she said is, we can never come back to this hotel again. and Dr. Udall said, well.
That's what she was thinking about.
Dr. Udall said, well, I was hoping that we weren't going to have a baby, that we could slow this thing down, but now we're having a baby for sure. One of my teammates, another quarterback, Randy White, his dad was an OBGYN at Tri-City Hospital in Oceanside up the road, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So we called him. He said, yeah, come meet me. We got in the car. We drove up. Kellen was quick, came quick, although they did not do epidurals there after we practiced all this stuff here. So any moms listening, no epidural for Kellen. We had the baby in the night right before the game. Oh, actually it was early a.m., day of game. And I went to the game, borrowed Mark Bellini's car, picked them up after the game. We went out to North Island Naval Air Station and met the team charter. And Kellen, who's like a day old, we carry him up the stairs.
Oh my gosh.
And Elder Holland and I were just reminiscing about this 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
He came to the basketball game, and we caught each other's eye, and he waved me over, and we had a great visit. Because Elder Holland was the president of the university at the time, and since I was the car sick kid, I always sat in the front row on the bus with he and Pat, and he brought it up. He said, you remember when you had Kellen down in San Diego, I was the first person to hold Kellen other than you and Brenda. Because when we got to the top of the stairs, he said, we saved the front row for you guys. Here, let me hold the baby for a minute. Let me hold little Jeffrey, he said. And then you guys get
How
settled
did you
in.
not name him Jeffrey after that? Mike?
Because
I
we'd
guess
already
he wasn't
decided
apostle
Kellen.
then either.
So we settled in, and then he handed him to Coach Edwards, who cooed over him for a little bit, and then they handed him back to Brenda. So the first two people ever to hold Kellen after he was born, other than Brenda and I, were Jeffrey R. Holland and Lavelle Edwards.
Kellen, that's a
On the charter
pretty
flight.
crazy story.
Yeah.
That's a lot to live up to.
So that's why he was born in
Lavelle Edwards and
California.
Jeffrey R. Holland.
He was supposed to be born at Utah Valley Hospital. He was born.
I was
in
only in California long enough to be able to claim it if I ever want to, because I have a birth certificate from there. But
which
a
a lot of people do.
All, so.
They're like, "Ooh, I'm not from Utah. I'm from
Yeah,
California." You could totally do
not
that.
very
Kellen.
people that played with us know that story, but not very many people know that story. So
That's amazing. Wow. Well, once you ended your football career, Blaine, you went to the CFL for a minute, and then you started your broadcast career. So, Kellen, I want to know, when did your love for football begin that you can remember?
It started before I can remember, I think, is the real answer there. Like, from the earliest memories that I have, I remember running around the family room. We had a little Tykes basketball hoop that had a locker, and the locker connected to it was always full of balls. And so it was just always there. And I think people always ask me, like friends, now that I have kids, they say, so are you going to make your boy, I only have one, he's 3 years old, are you going to make Tanner play football? And I say, well, no, I'd never make him do anything. Like, well, but you clearly were forced to play football. And I said, I don't think there was a lot of forcing that it took. I think we just grew up in a place where it was around. And, we in the early years that I don't remember, I watched my dad and his teammates play, but then he was broadcasting. So it's just kind of been part of who we are. Football's a part of our family.
Landon, how big of a role would you say sports played in your family growing up?
Oh, it was huge. I mean, the TV was always on playing football, basketball, all the sports. But like Kellen said, I remember, being 4 or 5 years old in our old house in Hess Farms in Kaysville, and my dad kind of announcing us coming out from the tunnel, and me and Kellen would run out and doing some kind of basketball or football game. But yeah, I mean, we were obsessed. I was the type of kid that would, cut out the top 25, the AP top 25 of the college football rankings, on Sundays or Mondays when they come out in our old newspapers. And so, yeah, we were all about it.
And do you remember when Sports Illustrated used to send out the year in sports things? We pretty much wore out the tape on the 1991, 1992, 1993 year in sports. Those were on repeat when we were, 7, 8, 9 years old. So it wasn't just football; it was all sports.
Well, you're kind of brainiacs too. Let's be honest. So you're probably you probably liked the numbers too. Was it like, did you like the scores and that kind of stuff? Because you mentioned you cut out the top 25.
Oh yeah. Track all the rankings, track all the statistics. I mean, yeah, I'd play, full seasons of the college football season down in the basement by myself, tossing the ball back and forth, announcing it like I'm pretending I'm my dad announcing the game. Gavin would get in there and get in all that stuff too. In fact, I remember one time Gavin and I were playing in the backyard in our old house, or this is our newer house in Kaysville, and Gavin did a little spin move jump on me, and his head ran right into my tooth and actually killed my front tooth. And so I had to get a root canal and get it bleached and all this stuff. And I was mad at Gavin at the time, but that was constantly the three of us, doing that stuff.
It's a good spin move, though.
He would tag along at Kellen's Little League or whatever. We could watch that football league. And then he would tag along with both. Mm-hmm. And then we have team photos of all of these guys. And we look at him and you go, who's that little dude right there in a full uniform? It's Gavin. Gavin was wearing a full. How old were you when you were wearing a full uniform?
I wasn't allowed to play it because I wasn't old enough. But Landon's last couple of years of youth football, when you were coaching him, I was probably 6.
So Gavin, what do you remember?
Full gear with the guys.
He was the coach.
That's
He was the coach
awesome.
that he would get. I would practice with Landon's
He went
team
to practice
when I was
one
like 6,
season,
and they were like 12.
Fully suited up. Yeah, we were probably 12. You were probably 6.
And then Gavin's the one. They all would do this, but Gavin would make me go downstairs in the Hess Farms house. And he'd say, call the game, Dad. And like he would go and I would have to broadcast the game while he's running up and down. Then when he would score, he would say, do the song. And I would have to sing the Cougar Fight song. You guys all did that, but he would drag me into the basement over and over again. Dad, call my game. Come down and call my game.
Oh, how cool to have a dad that could just off the cuff call your game, too. That's pretty cool. Gavin, I want to know, what do you remember from your little kid brain about your brothers and looking up to them as you were a little kid?
Going to their games was my whole growing up, right? Which Kellen's so much older that I was really young when he was playing. I vaguely remember Kellen's high school games, mostly playing down in the end zone with my best friend. His best friend growing up and my best friend growing up are brothers, and we're the same ages. And so me and Taylor would be down playing in the end zone while Kellen and Blake were playing. So that's most of my memories of Kellen playing sports in high school and stuff. I remember Landon's high school football career really well because I was old enough to actually want to watch and be super engaged. And even same thing, all my friends would want to go hang out at the high school game, and I was wanting to watch my brother play and all that.
Don't talk to me.
But then obviously when these guys were playing here too, coming down every weekend to watch them play and watching every game on TV, and so wanting to follow the example and play like these guys. So watching them was, and not just watching them, but all the stories of us playing basketball in the driveway, playing football in the yard or in the house or whatever, and that's all my memories growing up.
And they were all tough because Kellen toughened up Landon toughened up Gavin. But I think when you're coming and you're the third one playing, and when you're 6 and you're going and practicing with your older brother's team, I just remember when they were 10 or 11, and we were scrimmaging the other team in Kaysville, and the other coach came over and he said, can you take Gavin and Tom Poole was the other kid. Can you take Gavin and Tom Poole out so we can actually run a play? They're going to kill somebody out here. They've been playing for so many years by the time it was time to play that they actually understood how to hit and do all that. And they literally, the other team couldn't run a play because they were coming off the edge and just killing the quarterback in every play. I'm like, just give us 2 more plays and I'll take those guys out so you guys can run something. But that's because he was toughened up playing, especially playing with Landon.
And when Kellen talks about with Tanner, with his son, are you going to make him play football? Does he want to play? To me, I don't remember ever even having that be a thought. I think I was the most football obsessed little kid ever. And I still am, obviously. Yeah. I'm obsessed with football still. But I don't think anybody kept me from playing if they tried. That's all I wanted to do when I was little because of these guys.
No, you were probably like my 5-year-old Tyson is begging to play tackle football. I guess he's 6 now, and we're like, bro, you got a couple years. Chill out. We'll play a little flag for a few years. But that's how Gavin was. Gavin wanted to, he was ready. By the time you let him put pads on at 8 years old,
it was pounding kids.
Yeah. And we tried to. We always say there's a lot of things you can do, and you've got to pursue the thing that makes you the happiest. And so we almost consciously didn't try to steer them away from sports because we know that there's so many good life lessons to learn in sports. So we're kind of hopeful that they did, but we're kind of trying to offer everything to them to see what they gravitated to, whether it was music, and everybody in our family is big on music, or multiple sports. Academics was really, really important. So music and academics and sports and our faith are all really important in our house. And so, and let them go chase whatever they're passionate about. Now, these three ended up all being very passionate about sports and multiple sports, football and basketball and track, and they all played baseball too. But it's interesting because they're all same DNA, slightly different, right? But they're all the same DNA, and they pursued different tracks academically too. Like Landon has a master's degree in accounting from here. I don't think Kellen ever would want to do accounting, right? Kellen has a bachelor's in finance and a law degree. Gavin has a master's degree in public administration. We're thrilled that they all played football here. Maybe our greatest thing is all 5 of our kids graduated from BYU. And then he married a BYU grad. He married a BYU grad. His wife has a master's degree from Utah, which we're forgiving her for. His wife's about to get a doctorate from Baylor University. Wow. She finishes here next month. Gets her doctorate. Abby gets a doctorate. But we've got this big, huge BYU on both sides. Now, and Libby graduated. She married a slacker who graduated from Stanford with a master's degree from Stanford.
Oh, so he's pretty dumb then. Sure.
But they found people, all of our kids found people who were passionate. Not all the exact same things, but had a passion and wanted to chase and pursue the things that they were passionate about. With a couple of them, it's nursing. Kellen's wife and so Sarah and Abby both are in nursing, and Courtney's in speech pathology. They're all kind of medically related. Dallas is in finance, and Libby's in entertainment, and Nicole has graduated in broadcast journalism.
Yeah. So,
and her husband is in real estate development, but and he graduated from BYU too. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an incredible legacy, Blaine.
Yeah. BYU's been a big part. BYU's been a big part of our life.
And you need to host your own parenting podcast. That's next.
Grandpa Fowler. If Grandpa Fowler was 20 years younger, he should have done a parenting podcast.
If podcasts were a thing.
Yeah,
he would have
been
amazing.
Because we all talk about things, and these guys as parents now, and we all talk about, here's what Grandpa and Grandpa Fowler did. And we all go, yeah, that's the way you do it. Right?
Incredible.
So, yeah, they were a great example to all of us.
Let's talk about how you all ended up at BYU. Speaking of, Kellen, you turned down an appointment to the U.S. Air Force Academy to attend BYU. What made BYU the right choice for you at that time? Or did you always want to go?
Well, I think I always wanted to go, deep down in my heart. But then when you're a teenager, there's always that thing I kind of want to do something different. I want to carve my own path. And so there was probably a time, sophomore, junior year in high school where I was trying to find another avenue, to be honest. I went to football camps at Cal Berkeley and was headed up to the University of Washington, places like that where I could just see what else was out there. And I think with the Air Force Academy, because they were in the same athletic conference as BYU, and my dad had broadcast a bunch of games, we'd always heard really just positive stories about the quality of the people who went to the academies and the quality of the education there and the doors that it opens up. And as a relatively ambitious teenager, that was something that kind of caught my attention. And the fact that you had to get an appointment or the letter of recommendation from one of your state congressmen, things like that, I knew that it was a very prestigious thing. Yeah. And that if I went there, it would really be a great opportunity for me. And at the time, when you're in the process of looking at academic matches and the things that you, as an 18-year-old, you don't really know what you want to do, but you want to know that they're interesting programs, but then also the fit in the athletic world, you're trying to feel out, where am I going to have an opportunity to play and do well?
Yeah.
And so I was very interested in Air Force, went out there on a visit, had a great time. I had played quarterback in high school, was following more in my dad's footsteps, and Air Force, being an option school, they wanted me to come be a quarterback. They actually told me on my recruiting visit, if you want to score touchdowns in, at the time, Cougar Stadium, now Lavelle Edwards Stadium, you need to come play for us because they're going to put you on the defensive side, but you will score touchdowns in that stadium if you come play for us.
Wrong.
They knew their sales pitch.
Coach Peterson, he was good.
Yeah, they were good. But, and so I was interested in all that stuff, and I explored some of those avenues. But I think when it came down to it, time to really make my decision, I had heard so many stories throughout my life about what the BYU experience meant to my family, the people in my family, my mom and my dad and their siblings and my grandparents off the field. And so I just felt like I wanted that. I wanted to be surrounded by a lot of other people who had chosen to come to a faith-based institution, whose values aligned with mine, to a place where I felt like I gave myself a better chance to find my forever companion and get married. And I think when the final decision, I said, if I go out the first week of fall camp as a freshman and I tear my ACL, where am I going to feel the most at home and the happiest? And that felt like BYU. And I still sometimes wonder, if I would have gone to the Air Force Academy, what would I have done? Would I have flown jets? Would I have gone into medicine? What other paths would I have gone down? And I'm still confident that it would have opened amazing doors for me. But BYU just felt like the place I needed to be. And sometimes, when it makes sense in your head and it makes sense in your heart, then you go. And I'm so grateful that I did, because you do have such a fun opportunity to interact with great people. Like my best friends. I have a few really close friends from high school and growing up. But by and large, my best friends and my wife's best friends are the people that we spent all that time with here at BYU, and the memories that we made and everything else. So that was the experience I was hoping to get and did get here in Provo.
I feel like that's really good advice for prospective collegiate athletes. What you said is, if I tore my ACL or whatever in game 1, where would feel like home? Yeah. I think that's such great advice for somebody looking for a college, because that could be so confusing. This is a little bit of a side note, because I know you ran a 4.47 40-yard dash, and you were quite the track and field guy in high school, right? So side note, are you the fastest Fowler? That's what I got to know.
Definitely not anymore. I'm the oldest, so you lose that fast switch at a certain point. But I would put money down that nobody ever was faster than me in their prime.
Would you guys agree with that?
He's probably right.
He's probably right, but I did smoke him on the beach in Cancun 2 years ago.
Yeah, he did. This is a true story.
That's true.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't want to race Libby anymore.
Yeah. No, that's true. Libby's probably faster than all of you now. They're all 5 of our kids ran track. They're good track, big time track athletes.
You're all pretty dang fast.
Yeah. Libby, our actress and music. If you could have heard what Ed Eyestone said to me when I told him she was going to take a dance scholarship to come to BYU, he said, "Did you hear the words that just came out of your mouth?" She's a Fowler. She's not going to come run track here, and she was a really good hurdler. All these guys were great hurdlers. And I said, "No, I heard it." I said, "I think she'll be a very good college hurdler, but I think she's a world-class dancer." And he goes, "Okay, whatever." So when I see Ed, we just had him on my podcast.
You're like, Ed, look at her now,
I'm like,
man.
Ed. See, he was like, I know.
The hard thing for us guys now is we're all at the age now where if we were to have a race and sprint, we're all afraid we're going to pull a hamstring.
Well, especially on a beach.
You can't go full out.
That was a terrible
you can
idea.
go fast, but not quite.
You hit that 80% mark, and to be fair, the 80% mark now feels like the 40% mark once upon a time, and you better not run fast. Your hamstrings will fall right off.
These guys all had very specific. So Kellen's probably the most explosive fast, right? Landon probably has the best fine motor skills and quick feet. Like if we're going to just go shoot threes, Landon is probably going to win against threes. And Gavin was the strongest and most physical probably. And so they all had a little different. They were all very well rounded with what they could do, but they all brought a little different thing to the position they played. And Kellen played safety. Landon was a corner. Gavin started as a corner and then had back-to-back ACLs and moved to safety. So. Yeah.
So you're all crazy fast and athletic.
They're all very fast. Not anymore. Now they're all really slow.
Maybe you say you all were.
You all were really
all
fast.
Really slow
now don't go past 80%.
Yeah.
Dad Blaine and sons Landon, Gavin, and Kellen, thank you guys so much for taking the time. I know you have very busy lives, but I appreciate it. I think the people that are going to be listening to this will love it. So thanks so much. Thanks again to Blaine, Landon, Gavin, and Kellen Fowler for coming on the show with me. Tori Kimball helped produce this episode with senior producer Terry South. You can join the Royal Legacy wherever you get your podcasts on Apple, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or on BYURadio.org. Royal Legacy is a production of BYU Broadcasting.